open up something. Last week's demo is fine with me. And then I will log in to Fixmo. And I've already picked out probably some stuff from the store. We'll go to My Assets, and we'll see that I have or I'll just choose one real quick. Store. I'm going to do the female character. Female. I like to use the little. Doesn't matter to me. Base. All. Characters. Don't matter to me. Okay, so. My assets. So I have this wonderful lady right here. Okay. So here she is, and I'm going to find some animations, and I'm going to search for the word pack because I don't want to do just a single one. I want a whole bunch of them, and we have creature pack. That sounds great. I'm happy. All right. So add to my assets, and it's going to go pop up there. Great. And view download. I mean, this is infinitely fun, right? It's just I can do individual animations, so I need to come back and do something. But I am going to look for this. Will see how there's a stack of them. This is the entire pack. Select that and queue download. FBX, T-pose, default, everything is fine. And then we will download. Right, while it's downloading, I am going to find my asset folder here, show in Finder, and then I'm going to create an imports folder to hold that stuff. Actually, not in there. Doink. That's good volume on that UI sounds. Import folder, and then in my downloads, this creature pack is probably done. Yes, it is. And then I'm going to find just the base mesh. This is just the T-pose. Everything else is labeled as the different animations. So when we import the character, first we want to import just the character itself. But I can at least bring everything over to my imports folder. Great. And I am going to create a folder for characters. And I'm just going to do one. And I can either hit the import button or I can just drag in the female base mesh. I'll do the import button. And it is under projects. Imports. Which one am I doing? Week 3 demo. Week 3 demo. Let's try it again from the very top. Genius. See, you're my co-pilot. Yeah. So you might not be able to see this, and you might not be able to keep up with following along. But these are called. We've talked about static meshes. That's what we moved around with our prop in the lab over the weekend. Now we're going to have a thing called a skeletal mesh. For things to have movement and be animated inside of a game engine, they have to be run by joints and bones, at least for right now. And this is and so we want to import both the mesh and the skeleton, which is the first two checkboxes because we're bringing in the skeletal mesh. Everything else is just default is fine. And now I'll show you what's called persona. Persona is the skeletal mesh profiler, so we can see everything in here. So if I go to the first tab, I can see this 65 bone skeleton and see where all I can't do any editing, I can just view things here. Let me see all that stuff. I have the mesh and I have mesh properties, like I could change those. These are like the details panel inside my level. I could change materials and I can import different levels of detail that we'll get into that another day. And some other properties like I can make it rubbery. other physical assets. And then I have this wonderful tab called Animations that is empty. So let's bring in some animations. And we happen to have a bunch of those. So I'm going to select all the other ones. But these, I don't want to bring in a new mesh for each one. I don't want to bring in a new skeleton for each one. I want to put these onto the skeleton I already have. So I say I can select my skeleton here. And then it has an animation length. I just, whatever size, the people gave me the assets correctly, I'll bring it in as the exported time. And we now have a bunch of mutant things. So when I go back to that skeletal mesh and I go to the Animations tab, now I have a list of different animation assets that I can then run through and see all these mutants apparently have bad posture. It's like a common theme. Big arms and bad posture. There you go. That's the name of my class next year. Big arms and bad posture. You'll see there's a timeline here, and later on we'll get into the fact that you can add little notifies. You can say every time I get to this part of my timeline, I want to play a particle effect. Oh, what is that particle effect? Hopefully I have one in here. Explosion. Now, every time I do there, now we got a thing. Like this is, this is play around with this stuff. It's not really that important. This is just kind of goofing around. But that's pretty awesome. Oh, we could close Skype maybe. All right. So, which one was that? That was mutant jumping one. All right. So we can just drag in our skeletal mesh. That's fine. But we want to have the animation. That's a lot more fun. So let's find that jumping one. Save. And uh-oh, looks like this might be cool. In fact, I'm gonna double down and just like play all my cards because I think this will be fun. Now my third person guy is gonna fall into the middle of nowhere. First of all, and now my third person character is gonna have a dance party with all these people. Right? Hey, what's going on? Can I knock you off? No. Okay. So the homework is, is to meet with your group and talk about a few things. It's all listed out, but we want this time when you take your screen recordings, we want you to see like these, play around with these animations. Like, find a free animation that has some sort of meaning with the spot you're doing your thing at, and or just make chaos. And I think Dana, you already did this. You just like week one. She took the guy who was agonizing and writhing in pain from the flame and put him everywhere. But this is kind of like, let's get used to these animation tab and get used to all this stuff. So that's fun. But how do we do the live thing? How do we do the live thing? We understand putting the worlds together and doing canned animations, but we want to go live. Yep.
Oh yeah. So for the homework next week is, you already know this part from today's lecture, right? But you need to go and make sense. And that's what the readings are going to be for. And that timeline that I was mentioning before, you have space, you have props, and now you have bodies. So you're going to meet with your groups, talk about your individual ideas, get a concept together. I know that's going to be the hardest part of this homework. Like meet with your group and agree on one single concept that you want to make, and then use the animations to tell us like a small, like minute story of what you decide. Like, this is our environment, and this is our character, and this is how our character moves, and this little story, right? It's sort of like a tiny bit of your collaboration of ideas as a group. That's the experiment. I mean, this is cool too.
Well, hopefully it's cool. This might be a little bit hard to do over TeamViewer.
Let's go to the room.
But then we have... Can you go ahead and get a suit up and get the room calibrated and put the projector on this one, and I will...
Yeah.
cool. So.
I'm just gonna go and do what you guys already know how to do, right? I'll make a room, set up.
Oh, this is just not easy to control a Windows computer from a Mac over. Just so you know, this is live data right now that's coming into this character. And I'm just trying to disconnect it so we can do something else. Delete. Okay, well that's not going to happen. So we're going to be using our plugin called iKinema. iKinema is does a lot of things. We only do the one simple thing, which is we use it for retargeting. So retargeting is taking one skeleton to drive a different size skeleton. So we can be shorter than the character, or have different features, and then we basically tell it from bone to bone. The bone of me, of this performer, drives this bone of this character. We map it 1 to 1 to 1 so that we can have real-time solving for the characters, the character skeletal system. So we did the OptiTrack demo over the weekend, and that one was a plugin, but it already. Wow, we're having this resolution thing with the Javier side. It's happening to me too. I was going to show you plugins. I'm not looking anywhere. Let's start again. And it thinks I'm doing commercial things with this. That doesn't know I'm doing academic. That's fine. Yeah. It's fine. Okay, great. Now I can do it. So what I didn't show you guys is how to load the OptiTrack plugins. You can make a plugins folder for things you download off the internet, but the iKinema one is built into that computer, and it's just underneath Animation tab. So anytime you start a new project, you have to actually turn on the iKinema plugin from the plugins folder that is found under the edit window. And then I just lost my control. Boom, takes a village. So with it plugged in, we're going to bring in a brand new character and just show you how to do this, the beginning of it, and then once we can get over there, we'll go over there. So I'm going to have some characters, and I'm going to bring in a new one. This one's going to be called Week 4 Class Character. And I don't care about the animations. I'm just going to bring in the let's see what we got in that computer in there. Wow, we got a lot. Let's talk about that downloads folder. Let's see. Female base mesh. Details. So we're going to bring it in. Ah, I did like this. Pro Magic Pack. Nope. Let's just download it again from here. All right, we own this. Great. Here, add 20 assets. View download. Downloads. Download. Okay. So now we can import that female base mesh. Nope. All right. Great. So importing it, and don't care about warnings, only care about errors. So we're going to make a iKinema rig. We have the other computer, and we'll show you when we get over there, Motive. We have Motive streaming a take that we did earlier this week, and it's sending over the data, streaming it live. I want to go to my skeleton. So we have a couple of things here. Not only do we have the skeletal mesh, we have a material, we also have a couple of things like this is physics. So this is like colliders for the body. We can always simulate a ragdoll. We'll just do it like that. There you go. And then we can pick it up and drag it and whatever. Poor woman. There you go, it's dragging. Okay. Anyway, but it also has a skeleton. I'm going to left click on the skeleton, and I'm going to say iKinema rig. We are going to create an iKinema rig. All right. And I'm going to open this up. And we're going to crash Unreal. So that's very important that you crash Unreal first before you go any further, because you need to be very humble when you're doing what's basically like the hardest thing in this class. Once we get this done, everything is just like, oh, let's add particles. This is the hard stuff, and you know, we're going to go over this, and more than likely I'll end up doing this for most of you, and that's completely fine. So I'm going to go into that iKinema rig, and if it crashes again, we're going to just say that the fates are not with me today. Let's see. So we have a license server, and it's running. That's fine. And it's probably because I'm already I have other ones that are already streaming. I couldn't undo them. I know. Oh yeah, that's that tab up there on the left. I'm running that licensing.
Is that important for us if we don't?
It should already be running. It should be a background process. I was just monitoring it earlier today. And it can't hurt us to do things from scratch. We've been messing around with this all day long. In fact, I might even blame, you know, somebody else. It's not my fault, and just say I'll start from scratch. There we go. New project. We don't need anything. We don't need anything. Well, start current. It's always fun. And I'm going to call this Todd is Magic. There we go. And as I said, the first thing we're going to do is load in the iKinema plugin, and then it's going to have to restart the editor.
You have to use the 4.12.
4.12 for right now. Both the OptiTrack plugin and the iKinema plugin are only 4.12. We're almost always, because we're reliant on these plugins, always one version behind for what we're actually using for production. Then yay, so now we're good. And we'll load in that base mesh. There we go. Then I'm going to be sloppy just to get this catch up. And fine. And then we'll go back to right clicking on this skeleton, and we're going to create an iKinema rig. Save. And crash.
Wow.
Crash it up. Let's see. Am I running anything else? Well, I'm probably running TeamViewer. That's probably the problem. Let's see. Don't need any of that. We don't need any of that. Let's close this. This is really the most finicky piece of software ever, and if we had another option, I totally would use it instead of having to show you guys this stuff. Just so you know, just so you don't feel frustrated, or you will feel frustrated with it, but just so you don't feel defeated by it. If this doesn't work, I'll just restart the computer. And we'll just go in there and we'll all hang out and we'll just make it happen. Okay, boom. Boom. Okay, great. Yeah. All right, so guys, let's take a break, and I'm going to restart the computer. And I apologize. My live demos are getting worse and worse.